Welcome to One Nation, One Voice again, if you're joining us for the second time. If it's the first time, welcome to One Nation, One Voice, my fellow Nigerian countrymen. I am Eke Ukoumunne, and this is my lovely wife, Angel David Ukoumunne.
Hello.
Hi. So in the first podcast, for those of you that missed the third podcast but are actually joining us for the second podcast, and before I forget, please like, subscribe, and also send questions.
Yes.
Send questions, send comments, send questions, and we will try to answer as many questions as we possibly can by His grace.
Yes. So let's do this together.
Yeah, so look, we need to do it together. Like, honestly, God gave me the vision concerning Nigeria and how we can reach that potential or where Nigeria really needs to be. But ultimately, I am one person. Oh, God is awesome. But what I'm saying is that you can use one person, but you can't do it. How can one person build a nation? It would take the collective strength of the people and the unity of the people to be able to follow a vision so that we can really get where we need to get, and so that our generation and our future generations may really truly enjoy Nigeria to its full potential. So in the first podcast, we were speaking about the UK, right? We weren't really speaking about the UK per se. There's no particular country that's perfect in the world. My wife always says to my wife that, if you wanted perfect culture in the world, I don't know, we're talking about countries, but if you want the perfect culture in the world, then you would take the positives of every culture, remove the negatives of every culture, and amalgamate them, and you'd have probably the best human culture. Although I'm going to be telling you that Christ culture is better than any other human culture. But we were saying about India, and I was saying to you about that India has multiple religions, multiple ethnic groups, over like 250, right? Different languages, multiple religions, and they're able to stand pretty much as one. Yeah. And they're able to walk as a united people, right? The Bible says a divided house shall not stand. Yeah. They're able to walk and make headway in different sectors, right? Financial sectors. And the same with the UK. UK has got the Scottish. We know they had, back in their history, obviously they had their own conflicts, but the Scottish, the Irish, and the Welsh, and the English, they're also able to forge a future. Switzerland also, different ethnic heritage. So when people say, again, like we did say, people talk about nation, definition. They'll say Nigeria is a country, but it's not a nation. It's still a nation. Go and look at the definition. It's clear that a group of people that share a common history. That's why Switzerland can call themselves a nation, even though it's the French, the Italians, and the Germans. So what is it about Nigeria, Angel? Why can't Nigeria? Why is it that Nigeria, the Nigerian people, to this day, it's like, they're not stuck in the past, because pre-Civil War they still had the same ethnic issues. It just was maybe not to the heightened state that it was, let's say, during the Civil War and just after the Civil War, but it still was there. You still have Nigerian groups. You've got in the West, you've got Oduduwa. We've had in the Delta area, we've had in the Benin area. We now have the Kanuri, where people, mainly Boko Haram come from the Kanuri, but not necessarily, I'm not saying the whole Kanuri tribe is trying to leave, but you've had different secessionist groups, and then Biafra, they want to leave because they think Nigeria's not working. But I'm asking you, what is it? Why can't the Nigerian people, why can't they stay together? Why can't they stand together?
Asking that question. But, I was just thinking back to something that we said before, is that, when you look at it, actually, like, every country is technically man-made, except for the one that was made by God. Yeah. It really, it's just countries, people coming together, countries, but like people coming together, and this is the land. We call it this. We call it the United States of America. We call it Canada, and this is where we're dwelling, right? Yeah. And of course, we know we have little fights about originals and stuff. That's a different conversation. But I'm trying to say, like, they just made it work. Yeah. Like, we're in Canada, we're making it work. We're in the United States of America, we're making it work. Yeah. And that's the main thing that we need to have. why it's like have the mindset will make it work. Like I mentioned before, like it's if you're married to somebody else, you know, instead of focusing on the differences that your husband might have, or even a friendship, you can focus on what are the best things about the other person and make it work.
Yeah.
And I think that we're, you know, I don't know why we're so focused on, you know, our own like individuality instead of just focusing on the people, my neighbor, my brother. That's my brother. That's another person. That's another human being.
It's another human being.
And we look at our cultures and celebrate our cultures and say, okay, you know what, this tribe, that tribe, let's come together and make Nigeria work.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of leaving this whole separatist mindset is actually from the enemy, and it's going contrary to what God and the plan that He has for Nigeria.
100%.
But also, when you look at the world, sometimes it's not always good to separate just because things are. Sometimes you need to work together and see how best. Because how separate can you? If you separate and you go that way, you're just taking out, you know, the human element, the resources. So I don't know what you want to say.
No, because like, I mean, to be honest with you, Angel is Yoruba. Like, you know, he's like Yoruba. But Angel is Yoruba, of Yoruba heritage. I'm of Igbo heritage. We're both Nigerian.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We're both Nigerian.
Yeah.
And I think that's, to me, it comes back to, and honestly, my wife, you know, in all fairness, I love my wife, and she's beautiful, and, you know, there is an affiliation towards like Nigerians, but to be honest with you, I would have to say that, you know, as a believer, it could probably come from any, you know, country in the world, but I still say that I said in the initial podcast, and I've said throughout, if you go to the Facebook page, One Nation, One Voice, if you look on YouTube, you still see the same thing, and that's, I love people.
Yeah.
I see people as human beings. If I see someone who is in a situation that needs help, I don't think to myself, oh my gosh, that's a Jew, I can't help him. Oh, this is a Muslim, I can't help them. This is a Hindu, or, you know, this is a Punjab, I can't help them. That doesn't even cross my mind. I just see a human being that either, that we can relate with, or I can help, or maybe they will help me. I don't know. Do you see what I'm trying to say? I just see people. When I'm on the ground in Nigeria, like even when I'm in the UK, even when I'm in other parts of the world, and I see Nigerians, I'm always so happy when I hear that Nigerian accent. I'm like, yo, it's my people. I find a way to get in there, to get over there, and to talk to them and to greet them. It's the same way that when I'm in Nigeria, no matter where I am, I'm always, I mean, you know this, I'm always with the people, right? I love the people. So to me, I don't see these, I don't see tribes, I think, in the same way that Nigerians see it. Or some Nigerians, not all Nigerians. Some Nigerians are nationalists, right? And whether they come from, you know, the northern part of the country or the southern part of the country, right? They are nationalists. There are some Nigerians that are nationalists. Please, wherever you are, please start to come forward. Start to come forward. Start to come forward. May the nationalist Nigerians start to stand up. Seriously, you know, those are the people that, you know, they already have my heart. Okay, Angel. Well, we'll cut that out. But I don't even like the song. But they, you know, they already have my heart. So what I'm saying is, when I'm on the ground, I'm not looking and thinking, oh, this is a Yoruba person I don't want, or this person is Hausa I don't. No. Even when I was in university in Kent, right? Even when I was in university in Kent, I was always like, I was just drawn. I don't care if you're Hausa, you're Kanuri, you're Tib. I don't care. To me, you're just Nigerian. Yeah. You're just Nigerian. And I tell you, outside of Nigeria, right, I didn't say it this way, but the Westerners, right, they don't even care.
Black.
You're just black.
You're black.
Right? Don't big up yourself. They don't even care. They don't care whether you think you are this tribe or that tribe. They don't care. And for the ones that really don't like black people, they definitely do not care. Right? So honestly, like Nigerians, we need to get out. It's a mentality that requires changing.
It definitely needs to be changed. It also like, I think that it starts with our families. It starts with our, that's why it's like our own individual lives as well. I think that a lot of even like stereotypes, I know we've kind of like partook of some, stereotypes. We make fun, we make jokes, but those stereotypes should not be reasons why you are not fellowshipping with your fellow brothers or sisters. And I remember like our experience was, when my parents are not tribalistic in any form, and I know your family. No. Like we never. So for me, I have a very different mindset. We're all Nigerians, and I'm just hearing a little bit more now and seeing more of this kind of separatism thing coming out. But I think it also came out from pain as well,
100%, yeah.
Which we understand, right? And we sympathize or empathize.
Well, we sympathize, right?
We definitely sympathize with that because a lot of pain, a lot of things that were wrongfully done to different tribes, and so from that, I think that's where the sentiment comes from. It was always there, and it goes back to like the Civil War, maybe even beyond that as well. It predates that, and it was just a lot of divide, and it just slowly started to grow where we feel like we can trust that tribe, we can trust them, but also, sorry, honey, I know you wanted to say something, but I also feel like the leaders also feed in on that. Divide and rule. Because if you look at it's something that we said in our own time, it's like rich people do not care what tribe you're from.
No, do not care.
They do not care they just care about the value that you bring to them.
100%.
If you have value, it don't matter if you're this or that, they give you. But what they would do is, put the mindset like into other people. You see them, they're friends. They're all friends. They're in the same club, in the same house, the same thing, the same parties. And they're all doing the same thing, the same business deals. They're passing from one to another because they know that if we create division, if we keep feeding division, people would keep remaining in the same spot.
They'll remain in the same spot, and it's just like what you just used about parties, and I'm going to talk about we're going to talk about political parties, because the truth of the matter is that if they were so different, then you won't get politicians jumping from different parties, APC to PDP. Trust me, I don't think there's anyone necessarily. I don't think the majority of APC or PDP will come and join One Nation, One Voice, because we're talking about probably reconstruction. We're talking about starting overhauling Nigeria and changing the system, the corrupt system, right? And uniting the people. So we're just coming from completely different perspectives, but generally they're coming from similar perspectives. And even though they try to pretend that they are different parties, they're happy to jump ship because they believe that, whichever way is going to enable me to obtain that power, to obtain that reputation, obtain that money, then that's all good. So again, they're all, I'm sorry to say, but, many of them are part of the same, they're part of the same system.
And not to even get to them, because I don't want to mention anyone's names or anything, but we know like when we have people who were the former presidents who are currently under the godfathership of the, and then you look at the fact that one was Hausa, one is Yoruba, and supposedly the godfather of another, you just realize that it's all nonsense. Not for Hausa, but I think, Fulani, right? Fulani. And it's like, it's all nonsense because...
It's actually half actually, I think.
Right. And it's like, one is that and one is that. You're like, when you think about it, no, why are we the ones that care? They're not even...
They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care. Look, let's be honest. When they're cutting that national cake, and let us, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, we'll talk about corruption at some point in time, but when they're cutting that national cake, they're all friends. They don't care what ethnic group they come from then. They don't care what religion that they're saying they stand by then, right? They are just chopping the national cake. So why will we, as the people, all of a sudden allow them to divide us? No. Look, at the end of the day, it has come to the end. It's the sell-by date. It's come to the end for Nigerians to be begging for what is already yours. It's already yours. Like I said about the resources being in every state, you are standing on wealth, and it it is your right. It is your right as citizens that those who are governing you will appropriate those resources, right, effectively and efficiently, so that the people in their state and the people in that country can live better lives and live to the full potential. That is just that simple. And it's not only the citizens that are suffering. Honestly, we'll touch on many different things, but it's not just the citizens that are suffering, because when we start to talk about security, we have to look at other things. It's not just the citizens. Even those in uniform are suffering. Even the police, even the soldiers. What about the soldiers? When they die, their families don't even get welfare. What is that? Is someone going to tell me what is going on? You know, it's high time that we as Nigerians, we stop thinking from an isolational perspective. It's not just tribe, it's not just my family. Oh, as long as there's no harm to my family, as long as there's no harm to my tribal group. No. When I see people, being killed, bombs, attacks, people being killed, women being raped, all kinds of crazy things that happen in different parts of the country. In the northern part of the country, I don't think, oh, you know what, because it's happening in the northern part of the country, Angel, oh, I'm not concerned. How can you see suffering? And that's my challenge. That's a challenge to all of you, all of my Nigerian countrymen. That's a challenge. Can you tell me that you can see people suffering and you say it's good? If that's the reason, we need to manufacture a man-made island for them to go and live on that island, right? So they can go and live there, right? That is not the kind of people that you need. And coming back to what you were just saying quickly, is unity is unity. Unity comes from a heart that is full of light. It's that simple. Somebody that likes disunity will be a divider even in their own family.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Don't get twisted. I'm not holding any punches. I'm telling you straight up. You can tell me today that, oh, you are from so-and-so tribe but you hate another tribe. I will tell you that, no, there's hatred in your heart. There's darkness that is dwelling there in that heart. I'm telling you, I can live now, right, with someone that has a good heart. And I'm living, it doesn't matter what ethnic group they come from, I can live with them.
Absolutely.
I can live with them. It doesn't matter what ethnic group, as long as their heart, there's light there. We can dwell together and we'll enjoy each other.
That's how it should be. I'm not sure why. Like, again, it goes back to like I was saying, the sentiments and all that stuff. But you're right. We just need to put that away. Put that aside. If someone is doing good to you, I mean good in terms of in terms of light in the heart, like you said, put that away. Like, just focus on, this is another human being. How can we help each other? And honestly, if we actually came with a mindset that says, we are Nigerians, we are going to make Nigeria work, how amazing would that be? The resources that are in that part, the people that are in that part coming together, we are one. It doesn't mean you put away your exactly. It doesn't mean you put away your individuality, culture, individualitiesness of your ethnicity. You still be Igbo, you still be Hausa, you still be Yoruba, you still be Tif, you still be Fulani, you still be Canary, you still be whatever. But Nigeria has to work because we have to make it better. We live here. Our children are born here, right? It's good that it's good and not good. It's good that people are able to travel. For me, I would prefer people are able to travel because they want to travel, but they're coming back home. You know what I mean? Because I feel that everyone, it doesn't matter where you are. We say this a lot about Canadians. They stay in Canada, they never live. I'm like, no. Explore the world. God has given the world for exploration. You can travel. It's easy. Go to these places. But we would always know that we are Nigerians. And trust me, the Western world will remind you that you are Nigerian. They will remind you that you're Black.
100%.
And at the end of the day, we are taking advantage of the things that we have in the Western world. Take advantage of those things, but know where you're from. And know that ultimately it's to build where you are, because there will be a time where there'll be that people are going to be scattered around the world. You're going to want to know that you have a foundation in your country. We have that. We know that. We know that when we go back to Nigeria, this is home. Yes, we live in all these places. I'm not against, I think we mentioned in the last episode, we are not against, traveling, exploring. I know we have to end up soon. We're not really against those things. I just want to round up by saying that travel, explore, but read, learn, do all these things, believe God, pray. And many people are praying, they're praying for visas. That's great. But know that Nigeria is home, and you have to make Nigeria better. And if you'll come together with a mindset that how can we make Nigeria better? How can we make the people? How can we contribute? We're going to talk about to a better Nigeria. Yeah. Then, even as we're traveling and exploring, we are bringing our knowledge, the technologies that we're learning back home, which is what ultimately we should all be doing. Not just leaving and say, oh, we're leaving for the people behind. I don't care. And that's what we're trying to change.
And you know what? We're going to start rounding off this podcast and, looking.
Go a few minutes more if you want to.
No, I was going to say, looking for the third podcast, because hopefully in the third podcast, I would love to talk about educated illiterates. I would like to talk about I'm sorry to say, okay, there are people that don't have access to the internet, I'm sure, in Nigeria. People that may not have access and may never have gone to school. But for those of you who have gone to school, for those of you who have access to the internet, why are you relying? I mean, don't get me wrong, we should teach history, a good and comprehensive history in schools. But until we get to that point where that's being taught, why are you relying on that? Why are you basing your own viewpoints and opinions on only what you've heard from maybe your parents, your relatives, or your friends? I'm a reader. I like to read. I like history anyway. I like politics. So I try to read as much as possible, right? So I would say, why don't you read? Why don't you read about the other groups, the other ethnic groups, as you call them, the other tribes in Nigeria? Why instead of basing it on, oh, this is what my father said, this is what my uncle said, this is what they told me, why don't you go and read more about,
better again, know one, get to know somebody.
Or get to know,
get to know one or two.
And if you can't get to know, if you're not willing to travel, you can't get to know, I'm sure in Lagos, where there's so many tribes, you can get to know someone, at the end of the day. And I think that's where some of those divides do break down, though, is where people actually get to meet other people and they get to, oh wow, they're not even that bad. But I'm saying outside of that, read. Read.
I mean, we're so educated in Nigeria, everyone knows that, but when it comes to actual history and knowledge and reading, we're lacking. But look forward to that conversation.
Absolutely.
Next time. It was really nice,
Subscribe,
yes, please
share.
Let's grow together.
Absolutely.
See you in the next video.
One nation, one voice. God bless you, Nigeria.
God bless you. Bye.
See.